Hey Trygve, welcome to our podcast at Subscribe. I'm very, very excited to have you here because you work on some next generation AI stuff. So welcome and introduce yourself. Yeah, how's it going?
Thank you. Things are going very well. Exciting times and an exciting world these days.
That's nice. What makes you excited? What keeps you up at night?
Well, excited and keeping me up at night is two different things, though. But what I find exciting is how AI is changing the playing field. So where in the old days, right, you needed connections to capital, you needed connections to like people who could get you famous, you needed connections to people with education and so on. Today, AI is leveling out a lot of that thing and making it possible for many more people with the passion to compete, really.
That's true. And well, we're jumping straight in. Maybe introduce yourself a little bit, like about your background and how come you're in this situation. You are working on this amazing product. So what's the story? You told me before you lived in Austria and abroad in many different countries, or you were working in Austria. So
Yeah.
I'm now back in Europe, so I'm quite excited about that. Yeah, tell me more.
No, it's a long story, right? I'm old. As a startup founder, I feel old, basically, because I'm 43, so a bit older than the regular startup founder, probably. At least it feels that way. I guess it is that way when you become like middle-aged, that you only see the young guys now. Well, anyways, now I grew up at the university, actually, so I was there forever. So I took a PhD in mathematics. Then I spent a number of years traveling around as a postdoc. I don't know if you know that weird breed of postdocs that are doing research and stuff. They only talk about how hard it is to get a permanent job. That's the only topic. Anyway, we managed to get a permanent job, and then I quit more or less immediately. I had gotten to that kind of thing, and from there on, it was kind of hard to figure out what the hell do I do now. So
What
that
university were you on, or what country were you in?
my PhD is from Oslo. I was a postdoc at the University of Maryland. I've been at the Czech Academy of Sciences. I've been in Toulouse at there.
University of Maryland. That's like in the US, is it?
Yes, I was
Yeah,
there.
that's quite hard to get in there, isn't it? Congrats. Yeah.
I was employed as a researcher there. Anyway, and then I was a professor at the Norwegian University of Science and Technology in Trondheim. Well, anyways, I left that, reskilled into AI, data science, and machine learning over a couple of years, and then I was an early employee at a company called Cognite. So I was employee number 30 there, hired to build up everything AI, data science, machine learning. And over the course of 4 years, we scaled to like 750 people, and we raised like a 75 million Series A from Excel and 150 million Series B from Tesla.
Wow, congrats.
A
And you were
pretty
part of that.
intense journey to that whole thing.
But at this point, you were not old yet because you're saying you're old. I feel old, like you don't say you're old. You're still young. You still have 40 years to work. Yeah, at least.
I know. Hopefully at least 40 years. There's still to work. 83 years old working. I'd love that. Anyways, so back then, when we were 750 employees, so we were leading, like building the next version of the product together with my two co-founders, and we kind of felt the time for innovation at this company is getting over, like company ready to just scale, and you felt like cementation of like culture and opportunity and so on. So we thought that this is the last thing we do at this
What is
company.
cementation? What is cementation? What mean for you?
Looks like in practice, it is that you put that you put like people who have normally been working on infrastructure and the back end of the product in leadership positions. And then that is cementation of culture and innovation. Then you just want to maintain and scale. Yeah, so that is how it looks like in practice. So after that, we thought about what do we do now, right? And we wanted
So
to start.
I wanna repeat this. I never heard this definition, but I love it. So cementation is when you put people from infrastructure into leadership positions, so you can have basically a stable product. That's
Yes,
so interesting. Oh my God. Like that's like a interesting insight. I love it.
yes. So that was at least a reflection then. My reflection was that then at least no initiatives will come through this thing here. So, but this I think it made sense for the company. Don't get me wrong. Right? So you make a stable product, and you just want to scale, right? So you scale up sales. It's a sales-led company and so on. Uh, and
Is it a sales-led company?
yeah, yeah.
How are they selling the product? Like how does it work in practice?
It's sold into management teams at the biggest companies in the world. So we had like BP and Exxon and Dow Chemical and so on as customers, and we were part of their digitalization programs. So it's like a Palantir kind of company.
But for the European market or global or
No,
different?
global. Yeah, yes, global scale. I do not know how the lead generation was done in practice. That's the one part I don't know, but the sales process and otherwise I've been part of. I don't know how you like get a meeting with the CEO of BP.
Just on a podcast like this, like it's quite easy. Yeah.
I have no idea how that lead generation works.
No, I don't. Actually, I before my startup Subscribed, I worked for Facebook and Canva, and I only worked on growth and like data scientist slash design function and product. Like it's called product growth. I think that's pretty much what it is: data science and design for me at least. And I never was really customer facing. A little bit in Facebook in the beginning, and then I came out and I wanted to create this great product led company, and it just didn't work. And yeah, before I had another business that went to the roof, consumer facing. So I never really had to deal with customers. And now everything is sales, and it's so hard. I'm doing it for 1.5 years, and I thought I will never sell. And this is now everything I do. Like I mean, I'm not trying to sell. I actually trying to understand what are the problems and how can we help and shape the product around it. So I have, yeah.
That is so the guy who started Cognite, John Marcus Lervik, he has built companies in the past and is at least in this country a very well-known entrepreneur. He sold his first company for $1 billion to Microsoft. So he's pretty good now. And then the first thing I learned from him was to not sell shit in the first meet. Just sit and learn.
Yeah.
So you challenge some truths and you sit and you learn in the first meet, and then you come with a proposal afterwards. So I think you're actually probably doing sales the way it should be done.
No, I haven't done. Actually, I was in many meetings where I was selling things, obviously. So I did a lot of mistakes. I still do. But yeah, I mean, to me, the less I sell, the better it works, the more I listen and I try to understand. Like even with you, I spoke with Edward about something else, and then basically I form a little bit the thing around it for Subscribed, and then ultimately trying to create some win-win situation. Obviously, we need to make some money to keep the show going, but then explaining that, and usually no one says no to that. But if you actually try to rip customers off, of course, then or that's bad. If you don't make the value transparent or you don't know, then like it can be unintentionally, then it's always very hard, I guess. Yeah. Then it's
I don't think selling is what you always do, right? Selling is what you do with a product-led business too. It's just harder because you have much less surface to explain what you do and how you do it. Now, when you have one-to-one, it's a lot easier. But then it's very nice because then you can actually adapt your message, right? So you can sit and you can learn and then you can figure out how can I deliver value.
is
And
this what you do for Data Button as well? Like in the beginning?
no,
No, right?
we're a product-led company, so I don't. But that I had to learn. That I like how to so we I come from a background of building product teams now. I weren't a seller at Cognite, but I was the professor dude that was put into the room, right, as part of the sales process. So that's why I've been part of it, no. But no. So we quit Cognite and we wanted to start a business together, and we shared a lot of the same passions. So one of the passions was a good
Who
product.
is we? Who is we?
It's me and my two co-founders, Martin and Viral.
Yeah, and how they're like? They're also like you or very different?
Well, they're guys, both. That's how we're similar, I guess.
Are
Uh,
they the same age or even older? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Younger than me. Younger than Martin is 10 years younger than me. Viral is 6 years younger than me. So I'm the old guy. No,
The
so
wise guy, the wise guy. Yeah.
yeah, I wish.
What is the value of age in decision making?
In decision making, it is calmness and actually a bit more maybe you accrue some knowledge of people, like actually understanding why people do, what their incentives are, and how decisions affect them is something you gain with age. Intelligence you do not gain with age, but handling people and talking about that and being able to take like uncomfortable decisions for the better of two, you get with age.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's reflection. And then, of course, I've seen a lot of shit over the years. I've done a lot of different stuff, which is a benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's That's
And of
interesting.
course, people get calmer now. You get calmer with the age. It's much less control need, much less nerves, things like that.
Yeah,
Maybe if I was much older again, maybe I'd have more of that again, but not now.
yeah,
So two fantastic co-founders, and when we started, we wanted to try to figure out how do we shared some passion, and one was doing good product. Like we worked at a sales-led company, right? I don't know if you surely hasn't, right? I reflected over how difficult it is to build a good product in a sales-led company. That is very, very, very hard. And I'll tell you why. The reason is that learning and selling is two different things. Even though we talked about like learning as a part of the sales process, you
Mhm.
still have to like convince about your value, right? But if you're in a sales-led company with very big customers, then you don't want churn, right? So sitting and learning about like what isn't working and what isn't good enough, and having that learning growth mentality is very hard when you also need to sell. So I know very, very few sales-led companies that are able to build a good product that is really delightful for the users. So that's one part. And the other part is, of course, that the buyer isn't the user. So whatever optimizing for the buyer is not optimizing for the
It's
user.
not the organization, the teams, and people. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true. It's also, I remember when I worked at Facebook and Canva, the salespeople really didn't like me. I was in product, I was managing these teams, and you have to prioritize. And the problem is, it's not always scalable. So even if you want to optimize for enterprise and the future opportunities, sometimes the requests are very specific, and even if a customer is very big, they're not big to other customers. And being kind of the message leader for that is it's disheartening, I think. I never liked it, but you have to say, we actually have to say no. They know, and they know that you're gonna say no, and you're gonna say no anyhow. Maybe you say, maybe not now, but later, but it's the same outcome, like you can frame it how you want. And I think that's something that is really, really important to create a great product if you can. Obviously, the company needs to shift to profitability. It's different. But if you can, that's the only way you can defend awesome product experience. Sorry.
So many like enterprise sales-led companies, right? They have maybe 7 or 12 customers. And you can't really handle churn of any of them. So then that role, right, becomes like extremely difficult to say no to that or no to that and so on. So the stress that you felt on that is just multiplied with 1,000, right? So this is really like one of the main issues with building a product in a sales-led company. It's quite hard because you pulled in many different directions, especially if your clients are big. But so at least when
So
we
that's
start.
why you built Data Button, because you wanted to focus on different segment.
Yeah. So when we built Data Button, we said that we want a product-led company. We want the user to be the buyer, very important to us. And then we wanted to help people solve their own problems. Because we've been walking around in this enterprise setting for a long time, right? In part of digitalization programs at Exxon, BP, and so on, and seen like the frustration. Huge programs around developing solutions internally in order for them to work faster. And then all the employees were like, yeah, but if I could just solve this thing, things would be a lot easier. And then it's like, nope, we're not going to prioritize that. We're going to prioritize this big thing. So we were very, very focused on those three things. And then it was like, how do we make that work in practice? And with the advent of AI, right, we got the technology we needed in order to enable people to solve their own problems. So we were like super early with investing in enabling people to just have AI generate all code for them and solve their own problems. So that's kind of where we come as a mission-driven company, and AI came and just made it possible for us to pursue that mission really, really for real. We're not AI opportunists at all, not at all, not in the slightest sense. So that's I think has worked very well for us.
That's amazing. I'm like so happy for you guys. Like, that's cool. If you focus on something and things come together. It didn't feel like that for me, but now it's getting better. It's like, for me, it feels like, yeah, I'm figuring out how to make the repeatable sales and stuff. And yeah, it's just a different sales motion we're in. But I'm very happy when I hear that about other founders where just the taking off comes together with AI or other things that align. Like, that's like such a great place to be.
So it's of course a big puzzle now. So there are many parts of making this work. It's a gigantic puzzle, and then but then especially on like delivering value and enabling people to solve their own problem, and that part is amazing. the AI came and just made that for us. At the same time, it's of course hard to be visible and people discover you and where the hell do I stand with the billboard and that kind of thing is still difficult and complete, like changing day by day, right? A very changing environment for
Do you know? Do you
to try.
know? And now you're growing like crazy, or like you're growing. Like how much AR do you make in what time frame? Are you comfortable? You don't have to disclose it, but how big is your growth right now? What are you comfortable to disclose? I'm just curious about it. Yeah.
We were adding like 200 to 400K ARR per week, so
Wow.
that's a great. So it's been very good.
200 to 400K a week. That's
So
fantastic. Congratulations. Do you know Reed Hastings? You probably know the Reed Hastings.
yeah.
Did you listen Diary of a CEO with him this episode? Yeah, I'll send it to you. There's this section, and I wanted to ask you about where I think he speaks about. He just expects a lot from his people. He talks about it and how to build it, and he says like, I think it was him, but he said like, yeah, it's like in startups, it's important to grow a tree in a forest, and now with AI, there's all these trees growing in the middle of middle of a hill, so they're growing like 10 times faster and the wood is softer. But actually, when you grow in a forest, the tree is more condensed. The trees have to fight. So it's like, it took Apple like 20, 30 years to become like really generational. And now with AI, the tree is growing like so quick, but the foundations are softer. What do you make with the statement? Are you hard enough on yourself? Are you growing strong, tense wood? I mean, I never thought about it that way, but I feel like I'm definitely growing strong, dense wood. But sometimes I wish I would be in the middle on a forest. Like, where are you on this? Are you in a forest or are you on a hill right now?
I would like to so our story is not one where we like built a AI product over 3 months, launched, and then just took off. That is not our story, right? We're a pretty old company. We're like more than 3 years old. We've been building out a lot of infrastructure. We've been learning over that period of time what it takes to enable our customers to really succeed and get value and so on. So I feel we are very rooted in delivering value, the whole business. Then, of course, very interesting point. I think like AI in this code generation space where
3 years is a long time. Sorry for interrupting. 3 years is a very long time. Like, that I think you need to digest 3 years to build a company who then adds 100 to 200 to 400K ARR a week. 3 years is a long time. It felt like long, didn't it?
yeah, it felt like a long time. Yes, yeah, I know our story is also a story of grit, my friend, for sure.
Actually, I didn't want to throw you under the bus and imply you're not working hard. I just wanted to bring up this metaphor. Everyone works like very hard, and often you don't see when this growth comes what people did before. So I speak with a lot of people, and some of them built very successful businesses, and many of them all of them are successful in their own way. And then I think people always forget they only hear the stories when they succeed, but they don't hear the stories when they're 10 years doing all sorts of e-commerce businesses, grinding, selling cocoa butter from Sri Lanka in Germany, like all these odd things that didn't lead anywhere sustainable. No one speaks about it. Everyone speaks about this one moment in time.
Yeah,
And yeah,
I'd love to talk about it.
yeah.
For sure. I think doing a startup has a lot of pieces to it. Some factors you control, other factors you don't control, and there's also a market around you and dynamics. And right, it's a big puzzle. And for our sake, where like the self-reflection comes is that we were a product team, very good at building product, but we needed to learn how to distribute and that whole thing. And that took us time to like understand that part for real. Like read all the books, listened to all the podcasts, do all the things, but it's also lived experience.
To feel the pain, right? You need to.
Well, and then you need to actually understand. So that took us definitely some time to learn how to do properly. So that is one part of it. Then the other part of it is, of course, you should have been in our boardroom when we started investing in generating all the whole apps with code, like generating that with AI, all code with AI for our customers. There was no believers in that room, none.
Really?
Yeah. And this was like September 23. No one believed in it in that room except us. And a year later, you see Bolt.New blow up, and you see like a lot of companies blow up, and then it's like the hottest thing on the planet, right? So there's something about where are the fast moving waters too, right? And what do you meet? Right. So today, the like using AI to generate code and generate apps and so on is in fast moving waters, and that helps you, right? If if you go for somewhere where there aren't any fast moving waters anywhere, then it's harder, basically. Then need to figure out other ways of doing it and so on. So that's a factor that you can control, of course, in the sense that you can try to be in fast moving waters.
But also adding 2 to 4 hour a week is also helpful, right?
Yeah. Now are like amazing, but yes, it's true that it hasn't always been amazing.
You can create your own fast moving water with that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you know how to do that. But it's at least a lot of reflections and learnings as you go, and I see that not every second time founder wins either. So it is a difficult play.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. So you're a founder, Trygve, and then you speak about all the things you did. Was there anything in your childhood that made you want to become this? Did you ever imagine yourself being where you are? Because you became like a PhD professor, and now you're sitting here building an entrepreneurial company in Norwegian, where it couldn't be any harder, I think. Everyone can get a good job anywhere else. So in Norway, I mean, so how did you ever see yourself in this position from your parents or stuff? What values did your parents give you? Let's start with that.
I don't know what values they give me, except, well, you do what you say you're gonna do. I think the primary value I have from home is that if you commit to something, you fucking do it. But never give up. Yeah. But no, I've never had a dream of being a founder, really. It's not like that. It's just more like I love being on a mission and trying to create something and doing that. And I did that also as academic, right? Finding people to collaborate with, solving problems that were big, and trying to advance like that, bigger than myself. And I'm doing that now too. And I think I've just been like taking the opportunities and like advance the missions as you go, right? Without like thinking anywhere where I want to be. I've never ever thought too much about where I personally want to be.
Just happens. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
that's
it's
right.
like so it is me that initiated creating that button, for sure. It is. I didn't join, but still, it was like it felt very natural at the time to like
Yeah,
and do it and jump into that, and it felt exciting, and this could be really good, and these two people are amazing. If I am gonna do it, I would love to do it with them, and that kind of thing. Yeah,
yeah,
without me seeing myself as some kind of successful millionaire or something, it's not like that at all.
yeah. It's not like that, really. I think money is the least driver for me now. Like, I think it's like I want to build something that works. I want to solve how people can use it and see it of value. It would be nice if, I mean, it will be nice if it makes enough money and it creates a generational company. But it's not the driver for me getting up to bed every day.
I think creating a great place to work for people, and a company that has a position in people's life, right?
Yeah,
A
yeah.
product, a position in people's
I
life
don't do enough of that. I don't do enough of that. I have to admit. Yeah.
matters to me. I think, well, like where I go personally doesn't, because just the fun of being on that journey and getting up every day and being on that path is rewarding enough to me right now.
I could tell. I could tell when I spoke with Edward. I could tell how open and good energy, what a good energy he carried with him. So I can see how the company culture carries along from you to him. I can see that. I could see the energy, and I see that in. I have around six important calls a week, and that was one of them. And then I speak to way more about six follow-up meetings, and then I can tell. I have the comparison of the energy when people are in the room, and I can tell that the way it doesn't work for me because I'm very intense. Like, I think I also like everyone to feel good, but I want to be people work very, very hard. Like, not, I don't want them to give up and when they're sick, they should go home, but I don't want them to be soft on themselves when it comes to problem solving, because people get stuck in workflows and annoyed from myself, and then they solve the problems not as steep anymore, and you feel it very quick in a small team. I have a very strong sense for that, and I work with people very quickly on that. Let's say it like that, but in a positive way, and we improve our conditions and stuff. But I think everyone is very happy working on a team. Like, people are with me since the beginning. But yeah, I need to work on the cultural part. But right now we're really churning and like grinding and surviving, and that's the only way we can do it. And then I think now as it's better, we're already improving, but it's something also I want people to feel like great when they work with us. So yeah, maybe you can give me 1 or 2 tips like on how to do it. Like, what should other people do to create a creative work environment? What is one thing they can do for free?
I think I have a lot of opinions, but I don't have the truth now. All right, I have my beliefs. I'm not sure if my beliefs are something everyone should adapt or anything, but these are my beliefs. I think control need is the killer of everything. So I want people to just act, and then we rather talk about the result, right?
100%, yeah.
So that can be challenging for some founders, I think, because if you have a control need, you would like to review the landing page copy before it goes on the landing page. You would like to review the email that people sends out, and if it's a good idea to send emails there and so on. I don't. I just say go. I don't want to do that. And then we rather look at it afterwards. It's a bit shit, this landing page, isn't it? Now the conversion is down with 5% and so on now. But then people feel that what they do matters always. And they're always responsible for it. So the feedback is actually where it matters, and not me.
Yeah.
That contributes to the whole company learning, and not the learning being limited by me and my abilities. So that's one thing. The other thing I try to do is to make sure that everyone feels that there's no grown up in the room. So if they don't do their job, then everything will go to hell.
There's no grown up in the room.
And ways of cultivating that is, for instance, to not measure vacation, not measure if people take an oval vacation, not measure if people need to go to the dentist. They don't need to talk to you about it. I don't want to know when you work. Of course, you have some expectations if you set up a meet that people tell you or something, because that allows you to focus only on output. If you start to care about when they go to the dentist, when they take a day off or something like that, then you are responsible for effort. You don't want to be responsible for effort. You want to make them accountable for the outcome, no?
Yeah.
So you can't do that, because the moment you have been concerned with when they work and not, then actually the amount of effort they do is in your hands.
It's a really, really good insight. Now, so what you're saying is that when you start, obviously you care about the health of your employees, but when you start caring about if they're on and off for whatever reason, then you start taking ownership of their tasks in a way, right?
You do.
It's so true.
Yeah. So I don't. So instead we talk about what the result was, right? And where are we? And why aren't more shit coming out? And how the hell is this going to continue if we don't, right? So you make them responsible for the outcome, and then they need to be free to regulate the input, and also do what they think is necessary, because if it goes through you. So this is a way to create that culture. I don't think it works at the 4-employee company, but I think it works at the small one, trying to find their way in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's also something I think I see in the people I work with. I don't call them employees, I call them like partners or friends, like friends. Yeah. Why would you say friends? Like, I want to know, why do you call your close employees or the employees you work with friends? Like, what is the reason for that?
That's the type of relationship I want. It's not about being accountable to me. It's about being accountable to each other.
Yeah. I had a partner for a while. He worked with me in the business, and he was like, "Why do you say to everyone friends?" Like, and I couldn't articulate it. I did the same. It's like, I know they're just my friends, but they're investors. For me, they're all my friends, because they're literally investing because they have no idea on the success. I mean, they believe in it somewhat, but they invest in me as a person. So they are my friend, right? So they of course they care about the outcome, but they care more about me. I'm like, oh, I don't understand it. Like, and it's like, oh, I met a friend. You met another investor. No, a customer. Why you say a customer friend? And he worked for how's it called, PwC or KPMG, and there you have very strict rules and stuff. But I think it was actually also helpful in some of the client interactions to take some of this on board and get much better, more structured and more like have like certain guardrails in place from the beginning.
I think it's useful to set
It's
expectations.
it's very useful.
Yeah. I don't see that, but I don't see it's not necessarily a conflict. And I don't think it's a good idea to start a company with your closest friends or anything. But in your company to have like a friendship mentality and be
Exactly, friendship mentality. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
is very good, especially when that works. I'm sure that when you're at 100 employees, you can't do that. Then I'm sure you need more like a hierarchy, and you have to enable other people to create teams that are friends and so on, because 100 people can't stay close friends. That is just
Yeah, it's not possible. There's always someone.
too many
I'm
connections.
certainly not. I'm not certainly. I'm friends with a lot of people. I'm very friendly, but I'm not friends with all the people I worked with. There's always some people I didn't. You don't vibe, and I think this is okay. This is very normal, and particularly if you are in a leadership position, you cannot be. It's just you cannot be everyone's friend. Like I think it's very clear.
In a bigger company, you aren't friends with your employees,
Yeah,
right? You can't be because because there is you have people above you that sets directions and guidelines and rules for you, right? And you are the custodian of that, and your employees up against, right? So you and your employees can't together decide everything. But you're a small company now, you can.
okay.
So you together can be a group of friends that develops this company together, and of course you have the last word because that's your role in the pack of friends.
Yeah.
But in the big company, no.
So so I want to come a little because it's so exciting talking to you. I also want to talk about your product data button because I had this problem actually, and Jacob, my intern co-founder, and I, we work with Lovable and we work with other tools, both new, and we always do something. And I work very much in Figma and then go through the design process. And then there's this problem with Lovable and Bolt where I'm like stuck, or that he's often stuck in the prototyping phase. And then there's a bug, and ends up using ChatGPT. And it's like he then says, "Fuck, I could just hire a developer." And I'm like, you see, don't do it. Just work on the design first, on the flow, and then you came across. And I think what you do is you have your product, and then you have certain AI agents and also actually some other things that you do for customers to actually solve the issues to create a functional product. Am I seeing this right, what you do? So basically the phase that we are stuck, you
Yeah,
help with. Yeah.
yes, but not only like, okay, so we where like, so Bolt.new and Lovable is very focused on prototyping. That's the people they care about, and if you were to look at their path going forward, they would say that we are for product teams trying to prototype up new stuff. And they're good at that. We're not, right? So we're also an AI agent. You go into your chat with and it generates everything for you. But we are been wildly focused on taking you all the way to value and finish the app, right? For good and bad. For good and bad. On the good side of that is that if you start in that, you will be able to actually create the entire app. Now that has, so from many people that is more like a question of time. You sit in the prompt, and then it builds actually real apps, like where the others have only React frontends. We also have like Python fast API backend, so it doesn't have the same blockers in any shape or form. It creates like proper APIs and so on. Not that our customers care about APIs, but they care about the blockers, right? Then where you actually need an API in order to do that. Like for instance, fetch all your contacts out of HubSpot and do a retention analysis on that and have that as part of your dashboard. And then you actually need an API in order to do that. First securely, then have the data load and actually do some data and manipulation and actually show it. And that requires actually a Python backend is a very good solution to that. And we do the deploy of it and so on. But at the same time,
More backend as well. You don't just do prototyping, right? You do like,
we do the whole thing, one-stop shop for the whole thing. And the deploy is also, of course, a lot more difficult in when you have a proper backend running in the cloud that actually needs to be able to connect to and so on. So we do that too. If you click deploy, then that is wrapped in the right way and shipped on cloud, and we actually keep up like 30,000 Docker containers. And the other thing we do is actually that we do support. So if you are stuck and you are not able to progress, there is a intercom chat bubble in the product. If you howl there, you will get reply by a human. And depending on your need, you can get more support. So the whole damn company is like super optimized around bringing people to value.
That's amazing. I love it. I think that's actually the magic I saw in your product, because you still have the human touch and you're able to scale because the systems are the same. It's kind of like, I don't want to compare it. Anyhow, I think it's like really, I really love this about your product a lot. I think
that is part of what we're like. That is where we're using. So we have no desire to replace human support with AI, right? But we have a big desire to leverage AI to make human support possible at scale.
Yeah, it's about possible.
It's about like scaling. Who do you prioritize and who do you reach out to, and like getting system super efficient, because that human touch is so valuable. All right, when you sit and you venture out on something new and you're trying to create something and you feel a bit like lost, then that human touch is so valuable.
Yeah, 100%, because you go local if you cannot do it. Yeah, you go local. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what you do if you cannot do it. I think most
No,
of
I
our
mean local. I mean it can drive you crazy. Then you go on. You can
yes,
go. You go on Upwork. You go on Fiverr. You do research, and you cannot fix it. Like I remember. I worked at Canva and Facebook. You have a lot of resources to do stuff. And then my previous company I scaled with my friend. We're now working on the same product. Now everything is changing. It's different, but basically just going like my previous company did part-time, so I had very little time. I always thought I can outsource it to others, but it's not the case, because you need to find the quality of people, and it just drives you crazy if you cannot solve a simple problem on the front end and it's backend related and database. And I mean, now you see it, but finding the solution for that is really, really so hard and expensive, just the time you spend. So if you take this away from people, that's amazing. Like you can help people.
also have to say that it's very undervalued that the agent actually works across front end and back end. Right. So if you prompt data button about something, it will create both the UI workflow and the API backend workflow in one go. Right. So that is also very flexible. Anyway, it's working very, very well. The whole thing. What we did pay for it though is that we have been extremely focused on value and people actually getting to value. So, and we were a product team. So what we didn't focus enough on was like the first 5 minutes in the product.
I can help with that. I worked on the first experience in Canva. So I was responsible for the main page to then onboarding.
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
help you with that. Yeah.
Yeah. You do want to help us with that for
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, we can look into it. I was actually, I wasn't, like, we were creating the main landing page. So the page you see now, there was just this login. Canva had such strong product market fit for many years, even before I was there. So everything they needed was like a page with a button, sign up. And
But
then, Mhm. Yeah.
I was thinking the coding world with the Bolt.new in particular, and when they launched and so on. All right, that taught us something, because we saw an immense growth for their product, even though it was like the first 10-minute experience was great, and then it was like brick wall.
Yeah, they did a really good job on the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then people just like bang their head into the wall for the next 2 weeks, and that was okay. And I was like, what the hell, right? It goes against like everything you learn about product, and how, of course, you know that the onboarding is important, but still, like, delivering value is so high in the whole like mindset, right?
But for people, it's still like magic, I think for Bold and what they do, it doesn't matter that the final product, I think there's also Relume, it doesn't matter that the final product isn't perfect and you actually cannot use it. It actually, but it's just that you have something there that is interactive. So I think on a micro level, when you see this products, like, I don't want to talk bad, but when you see this product as a product manager and designer spend hundreds of hours in designs, and then you see like, okay, it doesn't make sense the way this thing is aligned and why are the color. So you see problems in the patterns, and it is because I think the way it is done is some sort of library and they apply it, and then I think it doesn't work on a very niche level. and the AI is simply not there yet. And this is why I think it will never replace like that. What?
Yeah. Yes, but you know what?
I don't know if it's that case, but that's how it feels to me. It feels like,
Yeah. But there's one thing we all do. We all use Shotzian at the moment.
what is
Uh,
that shot CN?
it's like you have React with the Tailwind is the CSS thing, yeah, and then there's a component library called Shotzian on top, and everyone is using that. And
That's why. Is that the reason?
the reason why, and it's very flexible. It can be styled in many different ways and so on. And but you can see it's Shotzian.
That's so funny. But basically, what I described is shot CN. Is this the thing I describe? Or?
Yes. So you can see it with the like very preferences for that one type of cards and I think so if you talk to our like internal devs and so on, they wanted like a way to switch it off, right? Because then I could but for a user there you have to relate a lot more if you don't have like a component library and so on, right? Then suddenly it's more like much more decisions to make, like what is a button, what is a component like that, what is like that, and then and you don't have to do that today, right? So that is why it's there, but that's a real reason why. That's a real limitation for you as a design-centric person.
Okay, I mean, I'm not that design centric, but yeah. Anyhow, I feel like I'm like, okay, that doesn't work anyhow. Like, but yeah, that's very interesting. I wanna follow. I'm taking note here for myself. Um, so yeah, what is your next year look like? I mean, now you are at that much growth. What do you want to achieve in the next year or 2 years? Where would you love to go? Like, what would be the ideal scenario for you?
No, let's talk about like 2 years from now. I think that people will be talking to AI about how they want to work, not not
Yeah,
like yeah, not like you come with the solutions to all problems at work.
yeah. What will happen to people? Like, how will people use your product? Yeah.
I think they will be talking to our product about how they want to work and challenges they have at work, and have AI like solve that for them, and stop thinking about what kind of Kanban board is best to work with on that kind of problem or something, or what kind of accounting challenge system would exactly solve that problem and so on. I think that will be gone, and you'll be chatting with AI about how you want to work in the challenges and the processes and more like that. And we're going in that direction. So that is where we are investing, right? So that means like bringing the time to value a bit down so that people doesn't need to relate to everything, and getting that faster with the somehow, and focusing more on the internal tools space, and being more an agent that follows into your Slack, and that it lives with the application that it gets developed, right? So that it's for that application does not go to you, but to the
So
agent.
kind of an intercom, but for the app. Like you speak with the app intercom in a
Yeah,
way,
right.
right? And it does everything you tell them, right?
And so what happens when the app is deployed, right? And people start using it. Who gets the tickets? Who gets the problems? Who gets the users' problems now?
Hopefully not me. Yeah,
Exactly. So that evolution is the direction where we're going.
yeah. I love that. So I work with 23 customers or 24. Some of them work on. I need to check my time. No, perfect. Some of them use WordPress. Some of them use Webflow. Some use Strapi. Some use I don't know what else. That's basically Webflow, Strapi Framer, a custom framer, a Shopify. Data button is very prominent now, rising. But I think it's so difficult. Like it's so convoluted, the CMS in many cases. As soon as it goes custom, will you see your product plugging into these other platforms as well as a horizontal solution? So is it necessary to stick on your framework if this is the future, or will you be like deployed in any space? I would say. I mean, I'm not an engineer. You can tell from the way I frame a question, but will it be?
For us, like focusing on the tools you use at work, and in order to enable you to work better is going to be the thing, and less about like where you develop the website for your shop or something. We have to pick like you can't be the tool for everything, is my belief.
Yeah.
I know that not everyone agrees with that belief. That's my belief, at least. That specializing around enabling people to work better and faster is better. And then, of course, integrating into the systems that they do have. But we don't intend to try to replace or challenge Framer at all. And if there was like a natural way of integrating that, sure. If like publishing easily to Framer or something like that would be.
It's fine.
Uh,
Yeah, and what is one thing you would tell young Trygve? Let's say you're 20, you're just starting to study, or 18, I don't know. What would you tell yourself? Anything you would you would tell him back then?
I think find your own truth.
What does it mean? Find your own truth.
I don't. They're like people are like society has a lot of value in education and like that and so on. And yes, it's valuable to do education, but not because it's something society tells you it's valuable. Like even more, find your own truth and challenge it.
Do you believe in education in university? I do personally, but I don't have a problem if you don't. Like, I think it's important. Yeah.
I do. I think they need to change for sure.
Yeah.
But but yes, yeah. People need education, but it's not more that. It's more like challenge the truth in society a bit more earlier, and then if you start something, then make sure to sell it before you write code. Have your first paying customers before you've written a single line of code.
I haven't done that, unfortunately. I can tell you that.
It's a good ambition, you know what I mean? It's a good ambition.
But I was like, when I'm gonna launch my product, it will be product market fit, and I never need to sell again. Here I am, 2 years later.
I think it's good advice, right? Try to call up some of the users you think is there, and then you get an 80% discount if you right, and then you don't need to take the money, but see if they actually will pay. You can refund it immediately, but like get that damn validation early.
Yeah, 100%. We actually gave you 80% discount for the first year. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I made this up on the spot. Well, hey, what?
But
Yeah. One more. I'm gonna stop now.